This radical Gen Z liberal thinks that people shouldn't own guns. This is what happens when you totally erode and degrade people's ability to objectively interface with the world. Because if you were to holistically and coherently view the society you live in and ask yourself, why is this society that I live in the safest, the best, the most free, the most desirable society in the world to live in? You would start from first principles, which include, of course, the Constitution, which guarantees people's right to own firearms. And you would also recognize all of the dangerous men with guns who protect you and ensure that you are safe, especially as a woman in society. You can't really physically defend yourself without either a firearm or men with firearms that are willing to protect you at varying levels of society. This topic is always especially enraging to me because I've heard liberals, even in my own family, say things like, oh, well, we don't need guns, or talk down to the military as if we don't need them, or as if they don't understand the necessity for the military. And I always want to say to them, you understand the reason you are safe and free is because dangerous men stand in the night with guns, willing to be dangerous and put their life on the line. That, though, is a very coherent, clear, masculine understanding of reality that, I'll just be honest, a lot of young women are told is toxic, oppressive, masculine. They're so disconnected from reality, so, oh my gosh, utterly delusional, that they would say the fact that they have to be protected, because they do have to be protected, is oppression in and of itself because it is an exercising of masculine parameters and objective reality. Take a listen to what this girl has to say. It's completely insane.
Do you be for banning firearms?
Ban that entirely. I don't think any civilian should have a gun. It's ridiculous.
At all.
This is feminine psychopathology you're seeing here. And it is, I think, great that she's being interviewed by a woman because it proves that an answer like this is not being elicited by a man asking her a question and she's, emotionally triggered into saying something because she's being confronted by a masculine image. She's being asked by a woman if she thinks guns should be banned. And she's like, yes, completely. Get rid of everything that makes me safe.
Do you be for banning firearms?
Ban that entirely. I don't think any civilian should have a gun. It's ridiculous.
At all.
At all. No.
She says it's ridiculous, but what's even more ridiculous is the fact that women basically, if you had only women vote, they would vote for essentially a police state where they trade all freedom for the illusion of security. Of course, the right to own a gun and to bear arms is a freedom enshrined in our Constitution. You are free to bear arms in the United States. So you see here, she is willing to sacrifice freedom for the illusion of security. Of course, we know that if you study history, which none of these people do, of course, because in college they're just indoctrinated into believing in power disparities and accepting the faulty presupposition that they are victims and therefore are virtuous heroes. But if they studied history, they would know that every single dictatorship, every single tyranny, every single authoritarian regime was predicated by a disarming of the populace. It happened in Germany in the 1940s. It happened in every communist dictatorship that took place. But perversely enough, maybe they actually desire that. Maybe they want to establish a communist regime, given that a feminine temperament is positively, meaning a feminine personality is positively correlated with proclivity to abide in left-wing authoritarian regimes. But this is how you get there, is young women who are willing to say things that are immoral, totally delusional, and she believes that she's a good person as a result of saying this, even though it results in less freedom. Every single person who has caused harm with a gun has been stopped by somebody with a gun, even if indirectly. But everything that I'm saying here, guys, is a foreign language because it's based on logic. Not only is her brain unpracticed in logic, but the people around her don't practice that standard or require even an iota of that standard from her at all. She's at a university, obviously. She's probably more experienced in blaming white men for the reason why she thinks that she's oppressed than anything else.
Handguns, ARs, whatever it is.
Whatever firearm you want to call it, a pistol.
She doesn't even know what she's talking about.
Whatever the hell it is.
Whatever the hell that thing is. Semi-automatics, automatics, the weapons of war that you buy, at the gun store. Get rid of those things. Yeah, no thank you. Do you see why left-wing authoritarianism is positively correlated with a feminine personality? Now, obviously not all feminine personalities, because this competent woman that is interviewing her has obviously rejected the attempts of the radical left-wing ideology to prey upon her psyche. But that doesn't change the fact that on average, a feminine personality is positively correlated with abiding in left-wing authoritarianism. Let's be honest, guys. That means rejecting objective reality, because to be a leftist, you have to reject reality on so many different fundamental levels. You have to say things that are untrue. You have to think things that are untrue. You have to consider yourself a victim. You have to consider yourself a hero for all the wrong reasons. This is why leftism also appeals to really effeminate men. So let's finish this video.
No firearms.
Absolutely not. Get rid of that.
Would you support then just eradicating in the Constitution the Second Amendment?
Yes. The Constitution has been amended before. It can be amended now.
But see, amended not in the image of making society better, but in the image of their ideology, which even self-admittedly is not beholden to any objective higher moral standard because they are morally relativistic. Because they assume that even the idea that they're subject to objective morality is oppression foisted upon them by the patriarchy, tyranny, and other corrupt forces. This video is very disturbing, and it's the reason why people my age need to speak out, because this girl's my age. We need to not just speak sense to them, but speak sense around them so that their echo chamber is broached. We got to impregnate the impregnable, to reference Game of Thrones. That's funny. That's a funny joke. Anyway, be sure to subscribe to the channel and let me know what you think of this girl in the comments. This is completely insane, but sadly, it's way too common.